Hello, my friends on YouTube. Today is Sunday, the 20th of October 2024. Please accept my apology. Last week I was away, I had to travel, and I couldn't make a video. Okay, let's start the video for today. Today's video, I decided to call it The Ordeal of Gaza, or Gaza's Ordeal. And the reason is whatever is happening, whether you agree with what's happening or disagree, it is painful. I would like to make it clear that I don't accept what the Palestinian people are doing, and in a way, they're paying for their mistakes. We're all responsible, and when we make a mistake, we pay for it. And unfortunately, it's not that I'm happy to or pleased to see what's going on in Gaza, not at all. But you make a stupid decision, you pay. A person who steals, when he's caught, he goes to prison. A person who kills, and he may tell you it was a stupid mistake, he or she. It's a stupid mistake. I agree. Nonetheless, the judge has to sentence this person accordingly. So we're going to speak about what's happening in Gaza and why is it happening. And probably what is the projection of what at the end, what would it lead to? Although this is grim, it's very hard to predict. But it will not be as it was. Definitely, it will never be the same. These stupid people, October 7, 2023, have done terrible mistake towards the Israelis as well as toward their own people, the Gazan people. Now, let's see. This, of course, it's for adult only, because we are talking, even though it's not about sex, but nonetheless, you are talking about the Allah's main boy. We are going to touch on that, so be careful. Okay. There are two Quranic verses. I'm going to read them first so that you will be aware. I'm not expecting everyone who watches my channel, he is a Muslim, Christian, or a Jewish person, because some people are atheist, and some people, they don't believe in the history that it's written in the Torah or in the Quran. That's not the issue here. We're going to speak about a group of people whom they have existed for thousands of years. Okay? And the Torah testifies to that. And if you don't believe in the Torah, history books say that these people existed in this region for so long, even before Christianity, before Christ. Okay? And the Quran testifies to that. And that is the problem that gets my mind really, it gets me very upset, because in a way, the young people who follow this nonsense, because the religious leaders charge them emotionally, and they go and they commit suicide bomb, they blow themselves up in markets among innocent people, because they are stupid. I'm sorry. The Muslim imam, or whatever you want to call it, they charge these people who are innocent, dumb, and stupid, and they go and they do that. They charge them up, and they go and do October 7th, and so on and so forth. And now they are reaping the result of what they had done a year ago. So let's see these Quranic verses. The holy, I mean, to many people it's unholy. Only few people call it holy. Let's see the holy Quran. Actually, if we say 2 billion people are Muslim and they consider this book is holy, 6 billion consider it nonsense. So who wins? You decide. Let's check. Okay. The first Quranic verse. This is the Allah himself commanding the Israelites. I'm going to give you I'm reading it in Arabic, and there are in the 3 interpretation in English. You can do your own, whatever you want. You can actually copy and paste to Google and will give you probably different interpretation. However, it says, Ya Qawm, O you group of people, the Israelites. God is talking to them. Whether you believe that God talked to them or not is not the issue, but this is written in the book of Islam, the holy book, if you want to call it this name, of Islam. The Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, telling the Israelites in the Quran is narrating what Allah told them. O you people, my people, O you, my people, enter the holy land that I set aside for you. I put it in your name. It's preordained, that kind of feeling for you. And there are so many things we can say here, why these people exactly and why this piece of land. Nonetheless, the Quran of the Islamic religion says that the Allah told these Hebrew people to enter this land that he granted them. And if the Allah grant you something, who can take it away from you? So the Allah told them to enter this land that he set aside for them, and don't disbelieve or leave your faith and turn away, otherwise you will be kind of losers. So God is encouraging them to enter this land. And this, by the way, after they left Egypt, according to the religious history, because Egyptian history is different. But according to the Jewish history, Christian history, and Islamic history, Moses took them out of Egypt after they spent about 400 years in slavery in Egypt. Moses came and took them to bring them back to the land of Israel, or to their country Israel, or was called the land of Palestine later on. God, the Allah himself told them. So if Allah said that, why the Islamic leaders are going against that? It's a question. They twist the arm and they bend the neck of the bottle to make it fit to their narrative today, to try to reclaim this land for another group of people, primarily the Palestinians, whom most of them are Egyptian, who migrated when the British were in this region and they were looking for jobs. Anyway, that's a different issue. Okay, another Quranic verse from the Quran, the book of Allah. May the blessing of Allah be upon him. And this is, I'm going to put that also in the description box. And this is chapter 17, verse 104. The Allah is talking. We said, after him here pertaining to the Pharaoh of Egypt. The Allah told the Israelites after Pharaoh's period of slavery, go and no, I'm sorry. I must change that. No, this actually, it's very interesting because if you read this, it seems to be there's some kind of prediction, religious prediction, that it says, I don't know, somebody who is Christian, probably something in the Christian teaching, if somebody knows Christianity well, can enlighten me. Because if you read this here, it says, it gives the notion or the feeling that at certain point the Israelites were scattered all over. And the Allah is promising them in the last days, He is telling them to go back and live there, from all parts of the earth. Leave, if you're in Germany, in China, in Bangladesh, wherever you may be, leave and go back to your homeland, Israel. Wherever you are, go back to this Israel. Go back to this original piece of land that your ancestors were living on. That's very interesting. I don't know where this prediction came from because, of course, Israel existed before and after Islam. How did he know exactly? I'm not sure. How did he know that they will be scattered in different parts of the earth? And at certain point, which it seems to be these days really, because since 1948, this is the time that they started to gather, to go back. Many of the Jewish people who were all over the world, in Europe, in Asia, in many different countries, they started looking to go back. Of course, Hitler has a lot to do with that. It's a safety zone for them. Anyway, if somebody knows history, please enlighten us. You can write that in the description box or contact me. I appreciate it. Anyway, that is the history of this land, that the Israelites lived there, and at certain point there was a famine in this region, and during this famine they left. In the Torah as well as in the Quran, it says they went to Egypt for about 400 years period of time and lived there, and then they left Egypt and they went back, and the other people moved in and they took that land, so they had to fight them off and reclaim the land from them. Later on, they were also taken captive in Babylon for about 70 years, and then the same thing happened again. But it took them after they started to go back, it took them about 140 years to make it back, all of them or most of them, and total of 210 years. That means that's their course. Somehow they get kicked out and they come back. Kicked out and come back. Until the wonderful religion of Allah came 1400 years ago. At this moment, the Prophet of Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, we're giving him respect. May the blessing of Allah be upon him. Because I don't want to get strike. So we have to respect him. So when he started, his army was not strong enough, so he used to invade, they call it opening. Open this village, this town, here, there, make some money here and there. There is a beautiful woman, a young lady here, the daughter of the head of the tribe. Give her to me, let me put my mark on her. She's beautiful. Safiya bint Huyay, Rihana, Guayriya, all these Jewish young ladies whom, of course, they were captive, so he had the right to put his mark on them. Captive. You have no rights. You are not a human being. He can do whatever he wants with you. So we should be grateful that he didn't murder them. Okay? So he used them for his own pleasure. Hey, good for him. He's the Prophet of Allah. That's a great honor for them. That was not rape. He was raising up their position in front of Allah. Okay, today, what's happening in Gaza? It actually happened before. All these people that I put in the picture, on the video, most of these people, they are trying to imitate the founder of that faith. Call it faith, call it religion, call it terrorism, call it what, I mean, you are free to call it whatever you want to call it, okay? So if you see somebody like Yahya al-Sinwar, who orchestrated the 7th of October, actually I heard he arranged that while he was a prisoner in the Israeli prison, because he was a prisoner. He was let go in 2006 in exchange for that young Israeli soldier who was taken captive by the Palestinians, by Hamas. And 1,200 more people in exchange for that one Israeli soldier. However, when he was in prison back then, he orchestrated that thing, all that invasion of October 7 while he was there. The thing is, this guy, all of them, and they are following in the footsteps of their leader. He is known by the title, his title, nickname is the Butcher. He used to sever people's head with an axe. He used to boil oil and pour it on the people's head. Anyone who thought that this person may have connection with an Israeli agent, or he is giving information to any Israeli, he used to boil oil and pour it on his head to intimidate anyone. Or if you even criticize him, if you say anything against that it doesn't agree with him, he will chop your head off with an axe. He will boil oil and pour it on your head in public so that people will always be afraid of him. I mean, even the mafia, they will not do such. I mean, the mafia, when they have some conflict, they shoot the guy and maybe they bury him or whatever they do, but not in that manner. They don't do that. So this psychopath, this person, where did he get this idea to do this? His boss, 1400 years ago, his boss. Huh? He, how do you say, he burned nails, got hot nails, like screws, burning hot, and he stuck it in people's eyes, in public. And then he chopped their hands and their feet off and led them in the Arabian desert without food or water to die of thirst. I mean, his imagination of torture, it goes beyond any psychopath. So he is substantiating his teacher. He is doing exactly what his teacher was doing 1400 years ago. So let's quickly examine what is the situation here. This piece of land, historically, and I'm not saying that because I defend Israel or I defend the Palestinians, I defend no one. No, I'm speaking historically. These people existed in this land. Yes, they were kicked out. They came back, kicked out, came back. The second caliphate after the Prophet of Allah, may the blessing of Allah be upon him, his name is Omar. He sent the army to conquer this piece of land, which he did. And they managed to kick them out again, and they stayed in the land. And then came another person, his name was Salah ad-Din, who conquered back to the Muslim, and back and forth. They get kicked out, one group of people kick them out and take over, until they started to gather there in 1948 and create a country. And the Islamic country, Egypt, Jordan, Syria, Iraq, they were all against that. And they fought them with the intention to drive them out or kill them all. And by doing so, they are actually violating the command of Allah that it is in the book of Allah. Doesn't matter. The Prophet of Allah told us these are pigs. Let's get rid of them. And they have ways to justify this violence. So, they tried in the first time in 1948 to destroy them, and they were defeated, all these Arab forces, miserably. And then 1956, they were defeated. 1967, they were defeated. 1973 was somewhat victory for Egypt only. And the president of Egypt at this time, his name was Sadat, he is the one who negotiated peace for land. And Egypt took the Sinai Desert in exchange not to fight Israel again. I thank him for that, really. Until now, Syria, thinking the Syrian president or the Syrian people are still thinking they can get the Golan Heights, which they lost in 1967. No. And actually I heard from Syrian people, the Syrian farmers in this area, in the Golan Heights, they don't want to go back to Syria. They want to stay under the Israeli occupation. Better for them. They are more prosperous. They are more free. Okay? So that is the history of Palestine. That the name of this region. The Roman gave it this name, Palestine. But the Hebrew people, the Israelites, they lived there. Kicked out, come back, kicked out, come back, and so on and so forth. But realistically and historically, it's their land. It is their land, and we have to admit that. And the Muslim leaders, what you are doing by twisting twisting history, you are causing the destruction and the murder. The innocent people of Gaza's blood is on your hands, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Their blood is on your hand because you are the one who is charging them. They are innocent and they don't know. And you charge them with the hate and anger and tell them to go and blow themselves up so that they can be martyr and they get 72 virgin as a bribe. They believe you. Well, they are dumb also, I'm sorry, I have to admit. But you are the one who is putting this nonsense in their heads. You too responsible. They are stupid, yes, and they are responsible for what they are doing, yes. But why you put this garbage in their head? You too. The leaders of these countries have to really, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia held these people responsible, and whoever now speak about this nonsense, bomb and suicide bomb and all that, goes to prison. Face a trial. Nonsense. Unless the rest of the Islamic country follow suit, do the same thing, that will continue. The innocent people of Gaza, in Lebanon, losing limbs, losing sight, losing everything. A father loses his family, his wife, his children. And these guys living in 5-star hotels in Qatar, and the religious leaders who are carrying their agenda, they have the most expensive cars, the most expensive homes, the most expensive education for their children. They don't send them to learn Quran. No. They teach them to be doctors and engineers. No. They don't want them to be suicide bombers and lose their lives. This is for the commoners. Okay? So we conclude with that. The second caliphate of Islam, he sent armies to conquer. They conquer this piece of land called Israel or Palestine, call it whatever you want. They conquered Egypt, they conquered North Africa, and they crossed from Morocco to Spain. Conquered Spain. In my opinion now, 2 countries have been liberated from that Islamic invasion. Spain and Israel. We hope the rest can be liberated from this barbarism. We thank you very much and we hope to hear from you.